Will simplify the modern world as the period beginning with printing sailing the world and the rise of Western Europe. Riches and power for some, chaos and destruction for others. Machiavelli still worked for the plutocrats, then add gunpowder and cannon. It starts with the same characteristics: a merciless Mother Nature with floods, freezes, volcanoes, plagues, plus thuggish humans with firepower. Jared Diamond, in his book Collapse, continued to have plenty to write about. So, where do we start? The focus will be mainly on England, the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, and plenty of chaos. The answer could be yes to either cause or solution. The current focus is on causes. Printing led to literacy, followed by mass production of books and maps, improved metallurgy, cannons and rifles, greater food productivity and processing. Of course, that must have meant the Malthusian trap of population growth outpacing food production, leading to starvation. No good news in this video. Samuel Pepys was on the job keeping a diary of London activities in the 1660s. After the Civil War, King Charles I was beheaded. Then his kid, Charles II, returned as king about a decade later, seeking revenge for Dad. Pepys was part of Chuck's welcome wagon, watching the thuggish revenge happening. Disaster hit London big time in the mid 1660s. First up was the Great Plague of 1665, bubonic plague. Granted, it was the fifth plague since 1592. Pepys noted that the streets were empty and the shops were closed in fear of the disease. It was the worst of the plagues and killed about 75,000 people. If plague was not bad enough, Pepys described the Great Fire of London of 1666. People were jumping into boats on the Thames as the fire spread. Pepys was the first person to notify the king, who had him tell the Lord Mayor to destroy houses in its path. The original St. Paul's Cathedral was destroyed, as was 86% of the city. Plus, there was the Second Anglo-Dutch War, which Britain lost in 1667. Elites creating their capitalist wealth cared not one jot about their workers or poor people in general. The mass production of the textile industry was accompanied by the reduction of farming in favor of sheep used for wool and meat. The unemployed peasants worked on the textile machines in horrible, unsafe conditions. It would take the government for relief, which had to wait a century for parliamentary action. London and the various industry cities like Birmingham were packed with slums. With bacteria and viruses unknown, communicable diseases flourished. Progress was made by, believe it or not, John Snow, a mid-19th century physician concerned with medical hygiene. Snow researched a cholera outbreak in London Soho then he was able to determine it was associated with a specific water pump which was contaminated, establishing the cause as waterborne. Massive technological progress was made by the end of the 20th century, but chaos did not stop. There were two horrendous European wars that somehow became world wars. The first was started by an anarchist assassin gunning down an archduke. The second required a fascist madman bringing down a democracy in a couple of months, then attacking the rest of Europe. Disease and pandemics did not stop, with the most well-known being polio. Of course, volcanoes, hurricanes, floods, and droughts continued. Then COVID hit in the 21st century. Before Columbus, there was chaos and collapse in the New World, with considerably worse conditions once Europeans arrived as conquerors. Next time on Food History and Mystery.